Number 1.
26-year-old Prisma Reyes disappeared from Dallas, Texas on April 17, 2019. When Prisma failed to pick up her son from the babysitter at 7:30 p.m., they became concerned and reported her missing at 9:30 p.m. Reyes was last captured on CCTV footage in the parking garage of the Olympus at Ross Apartments in Dallas. On April 17, 2019, Prisma left her job at a car dealership to go out to lunch. She ended up having lunch with an ex-boyfriend at the E-Bar Tex-Mex restaurant located on North Haskell Avenue. While at the restaurant, the pair got into an argument and he left. Prisma then called her babysitter, telling them that she'd be picking up her son at 7:30 p.m. She stayed at the restaurant for another 3 hours until the bartender stopped serving her. Prisma left the restaurant and was then involved in a verbal road rage incident nearby. Police were called, but when police arrived, Reyes had already left the scene. Authorities spoke to the other driver involved and don't believe the incident is related to her disappearance. Reyes then drove to the Olympus at Ross Apartments in Dallas, where her ex-boyfriend lived. She was captured on surveillance footage entering the parking garage. The video shows her talking on her cell phone and getting into the elevator. Another resident later revealed to police that she was crying. Police identified and spoke to the person she was on the phone with, but they did not have any information on her whereabouts. It is not known whether she intended to go inside, but authorities state her ex-boyfriend was not home when she arrived. Reyes was never seen leaving the apartment building, but not all exits have security cameras. When Prisma didn't arrive to pick up her son from the babysitter in Old East Dallas at 7:30 p.m., they became concerned. The sitter reported her missing at 9:30 p.m. The next day, Prisma's Jeep was found abandoned outside the apartment complex where she was last seen, in the 3500 block of Roseland Avenue, near North Hall Street. It was blocking the intersection near the apartment gate, as if her visit was intended as a quick stop. Police haven't found evidence of foul play in her case, but they are concerned that no one has heard from her. Prisma's mother believes her daughter is still alive and fears she may have been kidnapped. Her case remains unsolved. Prisma was 26 years old when she went missing. She stands 5'2" tall, weighs 135 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a red polo shirt, blue jeans and black. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Prisma Reyes, please contact the Mesquite Police Department at 972-285-6336.
Number 2.
39-year-old Shana Oman was last seen leaving a residence off McGrath Road in Fairbanks, Alaska at 12:30 a.m. on June 2, 2019. Shana is from Eagle River, but was visiting a friend in Fairbanks at the time of her disappearance. Her friend that she was visiting was supposed to give her a ride back to Eagle River, but when he didn't hear from her, he assumed she had made other arrangements to get back home. After learning from her roommate that she never returned home, her friend reported her missing. On June 9, the Alaska State Troopers, AST, began investigating her disappearance. According to AST, Shana was at a cabin near mile 23 of Chena Hot Springs Road before she went missing, but according to the owner of the cabin, Shana walked away on June 4. The owner of the cabin cooperated with AST, and multiple searches have been done of the cabin and surrounding property that borders the Chena River. No clues as to her whereabouts have been found. The last ping on her cell phone was on June 4 near the area of mile 17 on Chena Hot Springs Road. AST Helo 2 searched that area, as well as PAW's search and rescue dogs, but no signs of Shana were found. The circumstances of Shana's disappearance remain unclear, and her case is classified as endangered missing. Shana was born on November 7, 1979, and was 39 years old when she went missing. She stands 5'7" tall, weighs 120 pounds, and has blonde hair and blue eyes. She was last known to be wearing a long shirt and either shorts or underwear. Further details about her direction of travel and clothing are unknown. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Shana Oman, please contact the Alaska State Troopers at 907-451-5100.
Number 3.
In April of 2016, 19-year-old James Martin Roberts was an online student at Caldwell Community College and Technical Institute and planning on re-enrolling full-time at Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina, after having been suspended once for poor grades. Despite this, he was still a member of the university's Tau Kappa Epsilon fraternity, and he had remained active around campus. That month, on April 20th, he suddenly and inexplicably quit his fraternity, and the next day he told his roommate he was going to study at the university library before leaving his apartment complex at around 10 a.m. He would then be seen walking away from the Appalachia bus stop near the Holmes Convocation Center of the Appalachian State University campus at 12:30 p.m., and from there it seems he just kept on walking right off the face of the earth, as no one has seen him since, sparking a stubborn unsolved mystery that had not budged despite intense efforts to solve it. When James failed to come home, log into classes, or contact anyone the following day, and his rather constant presence of social media just abruptly stopped, people became worried, and he was reported as missing. Police would go about trying to piece together what had happened and turn up some weird clues. It would turn out that, although he had told roommates that he was going to the library, his cousin ran into him near the bus stop he was last seen at and told authorities that James had claimed to be going to the fraternity house. The cousin reported that James had been acting totally normally, and there was nothing particularly off about him that day. He had also called his father that morning and seemed to be in good spirits, saying they would talk again the next day. When James' apartment was searched, it was found that he had left behind his iPhone, laptop, wallet, and credit and bank cards, as well as a cryptic note to his father that, while not released, is claimed to have suggested he was planning on running away for a while because of unspecified disappointments in his life. However, the note was exceptionally vague about any concrete intentions, and his father would say of it, "We've tried to downplay the note a whole lot because it wasn't like he said, 'I'm going to do this' or 'I'm going to go there.' It is very vague and very general. The average person reading it wouldn't say, 'Well, you know this is the worst case scenario, and it is only a matter of time before you find out what happened.' It wasn't that way at all. The note is pretty much, 'I'm starting some journey, I'm going somewhere.' There was also found stashed away a dusty bag of antidepressant pills that had obviously not been used in a while, although James had no known history of any mental problems and no official records of ever having been treated for depression or prescribed medication for it of any kind. Robert's father would say of the anomalous pills, "We don't know where the pills came from, whether he was trying to self-medicate, whether he found them, whether someone sold him one thing and it turned out to be something else. One of his friends said the bag had dust all over it, so it was obviously not something he was taking regularly before he left." There's still so many questions. There were no other clues in the room, but the cell phone was seen as perhaps holding some crucial information. However, Apple refused to allow authorities access to data on the phone hidden behind passwords, which police countered by obtaining a search warrant to search for his data on the cloud. Authorities would eventually be able to unlock the phone, but it provided frustratingly few new leads or clues. James' father would say of the dead ends on the phone, "They retrieved a lot of data from the phone that has led to a lot of conversations. They looked at names, numbers, locations, and they've been able to follow up on some leads from the information. They found nothing definitive. There were some contacts that were previously unknown that they followed up on. They looked at GPS mapping functions, but they didn't find anything more than they had before." As all of this was going on, a massive search was underway of the area where James had last been seen. They searched large swaths of the area's trails and wooded areas in the vicinity using helicopters with infrared cameras and tracker dogs, as well as hundreds of volunteers that would turn up nothing. For a while there were no leads or clues, but some oddities would pop up, such as the fact that it seems James was being very dishonest with his father about his life, such as claiming to have jobs at places that had no record of him ever working there. Could this hold some significance? Who knows? It was not until the case aired on the TV show Disappeared that any potential leads would be forthcoming. As soon as the episode aired, there was a deluge of calls from all over the place from people claiming to have seen the missing man, but none of them really led anywhere. Lieutenant Chris Hatton, of the Boone Police Department, would say of this flood of responses, "We've received tips from people all over the country that say I think I saw him at Walmart last Tuesday, but it's nothing we can follow up on." These shows air again and again for maybe even years, so there's a chance that someone could come forward and help us connect some dots. The TV show generated some activity, but we don't have any good leads as far as where he is. At this point, we're redoing a lot of things, checking his bank activity, seeing if there's any credit cards in his name. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I've never seen a case like this. We've thrown all our resources into this case from the minute we got it. It's still very much an open case, and we're working on it daily. Despite all of the efforts, there has been almost nothing to really go on, and the case is almost more notable for its lack of any clues whatsoever, rather than anything particularly bizarre. Authorities have thrown everything they have at this case and come up empty-handed every time. Foul play has not been seriously considered, and it is mostly thought that James just ran off for whatever reasons, but many of his friends and family find this strange. According to them, James had been doing better in school and expressing more hope for the future, and there is also the fact that he was very sociable and was active online, keeping in touch with people, making it seem strange that he should just abruptly drop off the grid. His father has said of this, he is very engaged as far as being in contact with family and friends. He didn't necessarily post something on Facebook every time he did something, but he was engaged socially with the world. It is out of character for him to walk away from the grid, to not watch something on Netflix or play an online game with his friends. To just walk away from it all is just very unusual, very concerning. What happened to James Martin Roberts? Was this the result of personal demons luring him off into the unknown? Was it foul play, a psychotic break, or something else? Despite all of the resources that have been poured into the case, no one really knows. How could he so completely and decisively vanish like that, and is he still alive somewhere? No one has a clue, and it does not seem as if the mystery will be solved anytime soon.
Number 4.
26-year-old Brandon Lawson was last seen leaving his San Angelo, Texas home on August 8, 2013 at approximately 11:55 p.m. He left after getting into an argument with his girlfriend with the intention of going to his father's home. On the night of August 8, 2013, Brandon got into an argument with his longtime girlfriend, Ladessa Lofton. Looking for some time to cool off, he called his father and told him he was coming over. He left in his truck to head off to his father's house at approximately 11:55 p.m. About 45 minutes later, Brandon called his brother, Kyle, stating that he had run out of gas on Highway 277 near Braun, Texas. After the call, Kyle and his girlfriend headed out to bring him a gas can. Brandon then made a call to 911 at 12:50 a.m., stating he was stranded. "Yes, I'm in the middle of a field, inaudible, pushed some guys over, right here going toward Abilene, on both sides," Lawson says, according to a transcript of the 911 call. "My truck ran out of gas, there's one car here, the guy's chazzing, inaudible, to the woods, please hurry." When the 911 operator asked if he needed an ambulance, Brandon replied no, he needed police to respond. A deputy arrived at Brandon's truck around 1:10 a.m. after a 911 call reported Brandon's F-150 obstructing traffic on US 277 by being over the white line. Kyle and his girlfriend arrived at the same time, but there was no sign of Brandon. The truck was located on US 227, approximately 4 miles south of Braun, Texas. The gas tank was empty, and there was no damage to the vehicle. His keys and cell phone were also missing. While talking with the responding deputy, Kyle received another call from Brandon, telling him he was 10 minutes up the road and that he was bleeding. After that, his phone went dead. His cell phone was going in and out during the call, making it hard to understand him. Kyle, not aware of the 911 call Brandon had made at this point, assumed he may have been hiding due to an outstanding warrant he had, so didn't mention it to the deputy. According to reports, the deputy then drove up and down the road to see if he could spot Brandon, but found no signs of him. Kyle and his girlfriend left the gas can in the bed of the truck, so if Brandon came back he would be able to get gas. Brandon hasn't been seen or heard from since. His case remains unsolved. There has been no activity on Lawson's bank accounts or cell phone since the night he disappeared. An extensive search around the area of where Brandon's truck was located was done on October 24, 2013, but no signs of Lawson were found. Investigators haven't found evidence of foul play in Brandon's disappearance, but his family states it's uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. He is classified as an involuntarily missing person. His case remains unsolved. Brandon Lawson was born on November 18, 1986. He stands 539 and weighs 230 pounds and has brown hair and blue eyes. He was last seen wearing a yellow shirt, camouflage shorts, and white Nike Air Max sneakers. Lawson has multiple tattoos on his neck, back and chest. If you have any information regarding Brandon Lawson's disappearance, please contact the Texas Department of Public Safety at 512-424-5074 or the Cook County Sheriff's Office at 325-453-2717.
Number 5.
36-year-old Bradley Brooks was last seen on August 18, 2019 in Corpus Christi, Texas. He left his home that evening around 10 p.m. and hasn't been seen or heard from since. Bradley Brooks was last seen by his girlfriend leaving his house at 10 p.m. on the night of August 18, 2019. He left in his car, a 2003 Mazda 3 turquoise sedan. He had brought some shrimp, packed up a few fishing poles, and was allegedly going out to do some late-night fishing. He never returned home and hasn't been seen or heard from since. On August 23, 5 days after Bradley went missing, his car was towed from the 200 block of Naval Air Station Drive, near the end of Stingray Road. The car was found with the hood up and was towed after being abandoned for a few days. Brooks had just moved to the area 2 months prior to his disappearance to live with his girlfriend and had just brought his daughter to town to live with him the day before he went missing. In June of 2020, a tip came in from a family friend that Bradley may have been spotted in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Surveillance footage shows a man in a Phillips 662 gas station in Bartlesville on June 13. According to his family, it may be Bradley, though the sighting has yet to be confirmed. Authorities say they will continue searching the area. Bradley is 5'6" tall, weighs 160 to 170 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. He was last known to be wearing a maroon t-shirt, black shorts and Nike tennis shoes. Bradley has a horse tattoo on his chest that reads "All fall short of the glory of God" and an angel wing tattoo on his right arm. If you have any information regarding Bradley Cooper's case, please contact the Corpus Christi Police Department at 361-886-2600 or Texas EquiSearch at 281-309-9500.
Number 6.
22-year-old Akia Eggleston was last seen in Baltimore, Maryland on May 3, 2017. She was captured by surveillance video withdrawing money from a bank in the Inner Harbor area of the city. She has not been seen or heard from since. Akia Eggleston was born on September 6, 1994. She was raised by her mother, who died of breast cancer in 2012, and her stepfather, who worked at the Department of Labor. She has a 2-year-old daughter from a prior relationship and had a shared custody agreement with the father every other weekend. She was 8 months pregnant with a boy when she disappeared. On the afternoon of May 3, 2017, Eggleston was last seen on surveillance footage withdrawing money from a bank in the Inner Harbor area of Baltimore, Maryland. The bank was located 3 miles from her apartment in the 600 block of Cherrycrest Road. 4 days later, on May 7, 2017, her family and friends grew concerned when Eggleston failed to show up at her baby shower and gender reveal party, which she had put a $900 deposit down on. When calls to Akia went unanswered and she missed her prenatal appointment, family members went to check on her at her apartment that she shared with a roommate. Eggleston was nowhere to be found, and her room was discovered empty with only her bed and a couple of dressers left. On the same day, her family reported her missing to the Baltimore Police Department when she never returned home nor answered her phone calls. Authorities initially believed Eggleston had moved out and didn't suspect foul play when they saw the cleaned-out Baltimore apartment. After accessing her phone records, authorities uncovered text messages between Eggleston and her roommate that revealed her plan to move out of her apartment and live with the unborn son's father by May 10, 2017. Before her disappearance, Eggleston was on bed rest given her high-risk pregnancy and wouldn't have been able to move any heavy items by herself. Therefore, authorities believe she must have had assistance to move out, but none of her relatives or acquaintances came forward declaring to have helped her do so. Authorities interviewed a female friend of Akia's, who confirmed driving her to the bank to withdraw money on May 3, 2017. The friend claimed to have later dropped her back off at her Cherry Hill neighborhood residence around 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. This was the last time anyone saw Akia Eggleston, and her cell phone and social media activity stopped the same day. Her last cell phone ping came from a tower in the Inner Harbor area, where the bank was located. The identity of the father of Akia's unborn son was unknown to her family before she went missing. The man was later discovered to be a childhood friend of Eggleston's stepfather. Authorities interviewed the man, whose name has not been released publicly, and he was not named a suspect in connection with the disappearance of Akia Eggleston. Authorities also put out an alert to local hospitals as Eggleston, who was in a high-risk pregnancy, would have needed the help of doctors to deliver her son. But none reported her whereabouts to authorities. Her case remains unsolved. 6 months after her disappearance, a debit card belonging to Eggleston was found outside of her residence during a vigil held by family and close friends. The card, which was discovered by a family friend underneath bushes near the front door, appeared oddly unweathered according to her stepfather. Authorities recovered the card, photographed its original location, but didn't release any further information confirming if the card was planted or not. Foul play is suspected in Akia's disappearance, but there is no evidence to support the theory. The case is still ongoing, and her disappearance is currently classified as endangered missing. There is a $25,000 reward offered by the FBI for any information leading to the recovery of Akia Eggleston. African-American female born on September 6, 1994, with black hair and brown eyes. She is 4'8" inches tall and weighs approximately 100 pounds. Eggleston has pierced ears, a tattoo of cherries on her left shoulder blade, a tattoo of building blocks, and the name Emery on her upper left arm. She was last seen wearing a green shirt, a black jacket with gray sleeves, black and white yoga pants and black sneakers. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Akia Eggleston, please contact the Baltimore Police Department 443-984-7385 or call the FBI's Baltimore Field Office 410-265-8080.